Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Aries Moon. Flight boss, the Archangel URIEL. And I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now we're going to talk about Saturn going home. Saturn going home. Now, y'all know my perspective of everything is a little different. So I may not even explain Saturn the way y'all think about it, because before we can even get into transits or anything, you know what I'm saying, we have to realize that Saturn is going home. Now Saturn is officially in 0 degrees Capricorn, so Saturn per se is home. Now it's sharing a little attribute still from where it just came from. For an example, you just came from somewhere, right? So your clothes are still gonna have a scent, or you're gonna share a little bit of the energy and thought form of where you just came from. But let's just break this down for a second. Saturn going home. Now, let's look at it like this first. Planets that's exalted at home, motherfucking away, which we would call debilitated. Planets that fall. So we know, for an example, you know, when a planet, just think about when you at home. When you at home, you get to relax, be comfortable, do what you need to do. Get up if you want to, get into your creative mechanism if you want to. Or just simply do nothing and just relax. You in the comfort of your own home. Now look at what a planet is away. A planet is away, or debilitated. I like to say it's at work. It's debilitated. Because when you at work, you have to use the tools that you have in order to get the job done. And the only time you are away is to get some form of a resource in some way, shape, or form. If you are a lion in the jungle, the only reason you will leave your kingdom, leave your home, is to go out to get a resource to bring back to the home. So you never want to go out. You never want to leave. You never want to go outside. You never want to go away, but you go out for a reason, a responsibility, or something that you want and need to bring back. For an example, when you go to work, what do? You go there to get some form of a resource. You go there to get some money to bring back home, or else you wouldn't be going to motherfucking work. So that's a way. So when you look now, you can look at a planet and look at it look at it as a way. If you look at it in this concept, you could be like, okay, I get it. So anytime a planet is away, or if I got a planet that's debilitated or away, that planet is at work. So it's acting like me if I would be at work. Sometimes you gotta put on fake smiles. Sometimes you got them days you can't put on no fake smile. You can't act in no other kind of way. Sometimes you in this mood. Sometimes you in this mood. You can't never be genuinely fully comfortable, and you have to force yourself to be comfortable in that circumstance or situation based upon how bad you need that resource out of it. So now you can look at a planet. Let's take Venus for an example. Venus is away. It's at work. It's debilitated when it's in Aries, Scorpio. You see what I'm saying? So what does Venus represent? Love, appreciation, value, relativeness, compromising. That can lead to indulgent. But that's what Venus represents. Now, what does Scorpio and Aries represent? They represent the self, the first and the 8th house. Them the selves. Scorpio, fixed water. Being fixated on its own emotions and feelings. That's water. Fire. Cardinal fire, initiating and creating new ways of how to see and feel about the world it's in. So we got two different kind of feelings. We got a feeling that's only concerned about his own feelings and his own desires. And then we got the cardinal fire, is only concerned about its own idea of how it feels and how it sees things. So it leaves no... Sorry about that. It leaves no room for relativeness. So Venus can't do what it do effectively when it's in Scorpio or Aries. Because when it's in Scorpio, instead of being relatable and being able to compromise with others, it's forced to do that with itself. So it's at work. It has to work. It has to force being relatable to others. Put on fake smiles and stuff like that. Because genuinely it only love and appreciate and value its own emotions and feelings. Its own desires. When you get to Aries, Venus in Aries is only going to love and appreciate and value how the new ideas it's trying to initiate and how it feel. So it may be single-minded and direct and may not like to relate how it feels and sees. So anytime somebody come around trying to, for an example, that's almost like you in the motherfucking booth right now trying to sing or rap, and every 15 seconds you got somebody saying right next to you saying, oh, you should say it like this though, or you should say it like that. Motherfucker, this is my imagination. I'm saying it the way I want to say it. You see what I'm saying? So that's like Venus and Aries. Venus can't relate and compromise with no one in Aries. It has to struggle to do that. So it'll hurt an Aries or a Scorpio. And then it falls to sleep. Let's look at the sleep signs. It falls to sleep when it's in Virgo because it's exalted in Pisces. Now in Virgo, Venus is asleep. So, you know, think about when you sleep. You could do things that you can't do in reality. Go through many different realms, but feel all these different emotions. But also understand that certain things may be an illusion. You see what I'm saying? And things may not appear the way it really is. And it may be harder for you to see how things really appear. So you can dive into an illusion faster than others with a fallen planet. So with Venus being in Virgo, Virgos are blinded by love a lot of times. So a person could be showing you all kind of actions of why they don't really love you, but based upon your connection with them and your misconception of your illusion of what love is, you may think love is just being practical, or love is just having a bond together or paying bills together, and you set aside all the shit that really love really means. So you in an illusion in that realm. Venus in Virgo is in an illusion in that realm. It's sleep, it's dreaming, but sometimes it can express love more than anyone else. So it'll play out as a situation as you will carry out your love to others as criticism or tough luck or trying to make practical sense out of someone's situation when they trying to involve too much emotions and feelings in theirs. A Virgo, especially with a Venus in Virgo, person will look at that person like, hold on, you're not making sense. And that's their way of exerting. So you see what I'm saying? And then Venus is exalted in Pisces. So off the back, you know, you can exhaust yourself being in a place that you always want to be at. So learn how to not burn yourself out there. See, Pisces could be too loving and expressive. Venus a lot of times will get lost in love. And it's an illusion there also. It'll get lost in love, lost in connecting, lost in compromising. And then be experiencing all the opposites of it, to the point that a Pisces will lose their fucking soul and be the most negative person in this world based upon the relationships they was in or the experiences they was in amongst others, trying to be helpful or trying to be relatable, trying to make themselves a part of something. So now that we got that out the way, this video is truly not about Venus. It's about Saturn, because Saturn is going home. But think about you being somewhere for a long period of time. You get homesick and shit, like, right? So when you get home, it's like refreshing. It feel like a whole new feeling. That's how Saturn feel right now. That's how Saturn feel. You know what I'm saying? I was a star being. I seen these beings face to face. So I can tell you, that's how Saturn feel. So once we get that out the way right now we can really start breaking down what Saturn is going to represent to the smaller beings, which is us. I don't agree to them terms and conditions, but yeah, for the most part. So Saturn is ready to take the fucking clothes off that it just had. It's ready to take a bath. It's ready to relax. And the things that it just done is still on its mind. So you can know it's going to play out in that kind of way because Saturn is 0 degrees right now in Capricorn. So it's like a light bulb dimming or rising. Slowly but surely it's going to be able to get the comfortability of being home. But it just walked in the house. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even put his keys on the table or nothing yet to get ready to do anything yet. So just look at it like that. So, but it's home. It's like, damn. And it's all the experience, and it's thinking about the experience it just experienced, which was being in Sagittarius. So Saturn was going off experiencing shit. This was the last travel before it came back home. It was off experience and shit. You know what I'm saying? Gained some wisdom and knowledge about the whole experience it was in. You know what I'm saying? It basically, Saturn is basically back in its first house. It just left its 12th house. See, houses mean everything. Houses is the clock. The being we're in is its perception of the clock. Now, for Saturn Saturn just left its 12th house. Saturn 12th house is Sagittarius. So think about your 12th house and what sign you got in your 12th house. Your 12th house represents your subconscious realm, which you're subconsciously aware of. Your 12th house represents your imagination, your dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, spiritual realm, your fantasy realm. So look at, if Saturn is back home, it lets you know it's back in the first house. So it lets you know where it just left. It left its version of its 12th house. So Saturn just left its version of its dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, and it wanted to experience it. And what is the 12th house ruled by? Jupiter. Jupiter rules the 12th and the 9th house. Right? And what sign does Saturn just leave? Sagittarius. What planet rules Sagittarius? Jupiter. See what I'm saying? So Saturn got all this wisdom and knowledge that it was correlating to reality, because what Saturn represents? Reality, structure, how one gains structure in one's life, and where one places and receives boundaries and restrictions and limits. This is why Saturn has a rings around it. So it carries out the portrayal and the energetic force of something having a boundary. So any energetic force in your life that shows a boundary to it comes from the energetic frequency of Saturn. Whether you want to believe Saturn is there or not, or look that way or not, when you go into space, you ain't gonna see none of that shit. But the energetic force and the location of space where that come from, that's where that boundary energetic force come from. For something to be binary in this system. So Saturn is home now, and it's in the first house now. So Saturn got more of the... Saturn feels like an Aries right now. Saturn feels Mars-like right now. Saturn feels first house-like right now. Saturn feels like, okay, I'm home. Saturn is more in its personality now. Saturn is going to be more in its personality. Saturn is going to be more in its dealing with its personal issues now. Saturn is going to be dealing more with its personal affairs. Now, when I say personal affairs in your life, that's dealing with the personal people, places, and things in your life. Now, the personal stars in Saturn life, the personal affairs in Saturn life, that's what is being taken care of. So how did that play out in your life? Saturn going in Capricorn. How did that play out in your life? Saturn going into its first house, its home. This house is going to play out in your life. Now, Saturn is going to play out as a reality now. Reality into the way it wants to control reality. So it's at home when it comes to that. So the personality of reality, you're going to see that. So you're going to see reality taking course to how things really is. The realistic part of things. Not just the spirituality of it, but how it's realistically taking shape and form into people's lives, into people's personal lives. So for an example, you may be into a religion. Right now, people are going to see how that religion is playing out realistically in your life. Is it realistically creating a structure in your life? Are you doing it for practical reasons? You know what I'm saying? Is it a foundation in your life? Is it realistic? Is it reality? Do it correspond to reality? Or are you using it for your reality and gaining structure in your life from it? So is religion your job? Or is it something that you practice? You see what I'm saying? We want to know the reality of it. So not just with religion, with everything. Your job, everything. You see what I'm saying? The people, places, and things in your life. Saturn is going to bring the reality out of those personal circumstances and personal issues and personal affairs. Now, what is Capricorn? Capricorn is cardinal earth. Cardinal, initiating and creating. So all cardinal signs is the spark, the electric spark of something. what is now Earth is what Capricorn represents. So initiating and creating Earth type things. What is Earth? Thinking, being practical, making sense, growth, nourishment. You know what I'm saying? It also holds a sense of reality also. Realism, growth, nourishment. So the realistic things is going to be taken. Saturn is at home in that area of life. Saturn is at home with growth, nourishment, care, caring for something to see it grow. That's just all Earth shit right here. Earth energy, Earth element. And the planet you're on represents this energy. This is what other planets get their energy from when they want to get their Earth element. Earth is an element, not what you're on. The element is representing nourishment, growth, stability, grounding. So anytime in your life you're trying to ground something, that might not even necessarily has to do with a ground. But you're trying to ground your business. You're trying to stabilize your business. You're trying to, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to foundate your situation. That's all forms of grounding. That's all forms of Earth element. So Earth signs understand the Earth element better than the fire, water, and the air. See what I'm saying? Once you understand real elements and energies and astrology and we in the body, you understand like, damn. So the physical aspects of things is the quality that Earth gives, and this planet Earth. This is why you're able to see things as physical. But things are truly not physical. You're just on a planet that has that kind of energy where it could appear. But you're truly just a shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas. But you're in a planet consists of the elements of the Earth energy, the Earth element. So you're in it, so things going to appear to be solid or appear, because that's just this planet. Every planet is different. You can live on it's many different living experiences. That's what y'all have to understand. You're just having the Earth one right now. You're having this chakra one. Now, getting back to the point of things. Now, Saturn is at home, and it gets to do at home. This is home to Saturn. Those concepts. See, the higher the dimensional being, the less dense there are. So when I say look at concepts and ideas as beings, and your thoughts are not yours, duh. So as Saturn, its home, and it's the way Saturn look at its house and home is how we would perceive just concepts of stability, grounding. But there's probably a physical place that Saturn is walking and go in and sit down. See what I'm saying? Now, Saturn is going to bring reality to structure, the structure in your life, how you gain structure. You may have been doing something that may not have been right for you. So you've been stumbling and falling and not knowing what to do. Saturn is going to show you the realistic matters out of that. Show you why you're stumbling and falling. Show you what you need to set limits and boundaries on, and show you what you need to loosen up on. See what I'm saying? So Saturn and Capricorn is doing that on everybody's scale right now. Because it's even doing that with itself. It gets to relax and be home and be comfortable. And see the real. So a lot of times, when Saturn was in Sagittarius, you may have put a lot of stress on yourself into seeing reality in this way based upon someone else's imagination, someone else's vision, the way someone else expressed themselves, someone else's someone else's creativity, someone else's religion, someone else's broad philosophical point of view of the world, someone else's morals, someone else's wisdom. See, when Saturn was in Sagittarius, you may have gained structure in your life and stumbled and failed because you was going about reality in that way. Now Saturn is going to show you how to reality in your way. It's also going to initiate and create your own way. Because all cardinal signs is unique. Now let's look at the alignments it's going to be making. So Saturn being in Capricorn in 0 degrees. Today, we're 1 degree away, because I think Sagittarius is in 28 or 29 degrees. So we're like minutes and hours away from experiencing the sun being in Capricorn. So for the next 30 days, we are going to be consciously aware, and our actions is going to be predicated towards Saturn-like things anyway. So your actions and the way you act and how you see things is going to be more predicated towards reality, the realistic measures of it. So you're going to have to see the practical nature of it, to the point that we're even seeing it physically based upon the season. It's more cold now, so your actions have to be more calculated. Even to the way you walk through snow, or walk in cold weather, or walking out you need a coat. Your actions and the way you act have to be more calculated. It's more practical. It has to make more sense. It's more cold, less expressive, less emotional, less feeling like, aka less fiery, less air, less watery like, and the air is cold, so your thoughts is more cold. When you look at something cold being condensed, cold is being condensed and being frozen and being more stable, being more fixated, taking a shape, taking a form. So these are the Capricorn thoughts. Capricorn signs already understand this. But for the most part, this is what we're about to be consciously aware of with the sun being here and Saturn. So the sun represents your actions and the way you act and how you see things. So those are going to be more cold, more practical, more analyzed based. You know what I'm saying? And you're even seeing that physically based upon the season that you're in. When the sun goes in Capricorn, it's in the winter season. It's going into the fall, into the winter season. And your actions of how you act in the world even is more cold, more practical. Have to be thought out and planned out. These is all Capricorn traits. And with the sun there, you even seeing this play out into the physical form of life. But astrology is before the physical form of life. See, we talking about it before it got physical, but we can even explain it physically. This is why everything has to presuppose astrology. Everything. Time itself, motherfucker. Now, the sun being here, so this is everybody action. So everybody have to act realistic right now. Act more into reality, the reality of things. If it's cold, get a coat. Or go to a location where it's not cold. But that's the practical conclusion you have to make up. Now, solutions, grounding, blueprints is what your actions need to be predicated towards. Because if it ain't, you're not going to survive. You're going to witness your actions and the way you act and what you're constantly aware of and your viewpoints. You're going to witness those not make sense to anything. You're going to witness those not work. You're going to witness your inner aspirations and expressions and fires and waters and air. Like, you're going to witness those. You're going to witness these not work unless you create some type of shape or form so it to look. Create some type of blueprint for it. Create some type of stability, some type of foundation for these things. AKA, if you want to go travel, the foundation of it will be to have gas. AKA, if you want to go show your talent, the foundation of it will be to have some type of platform for your talent to be showcased. AKA, if you want a business to work, have a model or a plan to work off to see if this organization will work. So this is all the mind that this is what your actions need to be focused on. So the sun is no longer in Sagittarius. It's no longer how much you can express your viewpoints and how you see things. Now it's what kind of shape or form we can see out of it. I don't care how much you know. What kind of accolades you got from it? What gain did you get from it? What's the reality of it? See what I'm saying? Fuck what you're doing. What's the reality of it? See, Saturn also don't reflect light. This is why it's opposite to the sun. This is why Aquarius is opposite to Leo. This is why Capricorn is opposite to Cancer. Cancer represents the start of what? The summer solstice. See, Saturn don't reflect the light. The moon and the sun are like luminaries. The moon rules Cancer. The sun rules Leo. Saturn, who that rule? Capricorn, Aquarius. See what I'm saying? So, okay. So what you have to understand is Saturn don't reflect light. What do the moon and the sun does the most? The moon represents the emotions, the feeling, connectiveness. The sun represents what you can see, what you're consciously aware of, your actions. When they get played out through people, these forces get played out the best through Cancers and Leos. What Leos like to do? Express. Express what? Spirit, imagination, vitality, energy. What does Cancer like to express? What? The same thing. Passion, emotions, feelings. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you went to astrology and you could understand elements, this give you a sense of like, oh, okay, that's how light is created. Saturn don't reflect light. Saturn is heavy, dense, mass-wise. So Saturn don't give a fuck about light. It just cares about what you can make, what's the shape and form, what's the stability you got from it. AKA, Saturn don't give a fuck about how you express yourself or your talent or your imagination. Fire. AKA, Saturn don't give a fuck about your feelings, your emotions, how you think things appear to be, and the illusion you may be in. AKA, water. AKA, sometimes Saturn don't even give a fuck about your thoughts or your imagination, cause that's not, or your ideas or your ideals, cause that's not even fire or water. So that's really not there. That's just air. We can't work with that. I gotta see something from these things. Let me see what you got from your ideas and thoughts. Let me see what you got from your talent, expression, and energy. Let me see what you got from your emotions, your feelings, and your vibes. Otherwise, those luminaries I don't give a fuck about. AKA, Saturn gonna play that out through Aquariuses and Capricorns. So Aquarius look at all your ideas and thoughts and don't like, they go their own way because they think that your shit don't make sense. It'll play out through a Capricorn like, that's not business. That's not practical. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Aquarius and Capricorn share. Because they're different elements. They're earth and air between each other, but that's what they share in common. Reality. What makes sense. See what I'm saying? So, they don't reflect light. AKA, Aquarius or a Capricorn will not react to the traits of Cancers and Leo. AKA, in any shape or form. Aquarius or a Capricorn are not quick to react to your over passion, your over expression, until they see what makes sense out of it. You could be overly aggressive to them. They're not gonna act in the way you're acting. See what I'm saying? Because Saturn don't reflect light. So they're gonna act in your way, in a colder type way. See what I'm saying? And respond in a physical way, or in a way that makes sense, in a way that's dealing with shape and form. Aquarius know how to not take shape and form though with this. So they're a little bit more savvy and a little bit more relatable because they than the Capricorns. But they still both have something in common. Capricorn is only relatable and savvy if it means something to them, and they can create a foundation to themselves on it. Now, see, Saturn itself don't reflect light. So it's not about your potential. It's about putting your potential to the test, putting your potential to action, seeing if it works. Your blueprint should already be your imagination. Let's see if it works. Let's start to build that building. Let's start to take shape and form of it. And it was gaining all these new imaginations and creative abilities when it was in Sagittarius. Now it wants to put this to work, and it's going to make sure you do this. And if you're not doing this, you're going to see a bunch of stumble and falls. So if you're still acting in the same ways of trying to go off into too much fire, expressions and shit, too much waters, emotions and vibes and shit, too much air, thoughts and ideals and shit, it's not going to work right now. You're going to witness a bunch of things that don't work. No matter if you're trying to get a job that assists of these things or whatever. The more you come to practical conclusions